Well, hi everybody. Hi everybody. First of all, as one of my colleagues, well, I'll do the only housekeeping thing. Anybody who's got cell phones or who uses pagers anymore, but if you've got cell phones or Blackberries, if you could turn those off, that would be great. Only because we're taping this, and Carrie will talk in a few minutes a little bit more, but and I'll say a couple more things about this. But once again, Boston's sort of leading the way. Come on in. This is very informal. And we are taping this so that we can maybe use this in some other markets around the country. So we appreciate the courtesy of the cell phones. Most importantly, as one of my colleagues pointed out, this is like the first decent day we've had all summer. And you could all be out in the park across the street, and you're here. It means a great deal to me and a great deal to all of us that you would take the time to do that. So thank you in advance, and thanks for having the interest to come down, really. This means a lot. And when we're done, go tell all your friends so there are even more. But the odds on the tickets went way down by the group, and it's a very nice turnout. But thank you so much. You know, those of you who have seen me stand up here before or heard me elsewhere, our commitment to Boston, to Massachusetts, is as strong as ever in terms of our not-for-profit partnerships and the priorities that we care about, youth being at the top of that list. For those of you who haven't heard the speech, our three priorities in terms of how we use our philanthropic dollars in this market are economic development, which is everything from affordable housing to work training and anything that'll help people become and stay more productive. And then youth, which is a huge category, which is K through 12 public and everything associated with that, opportunities really for kids to be involved in their communities, to be off the street. You'll hear more about that in the next few weeks in terms of some things that we're doing with a number of other partners around the city. And then thirdly, arts and culture, and particularly access to arts and culture for people who don't always have the same opportunities that some of us do. So whether they're kids, taking them to programs and exposing them to art, or making places like the MFA more accessible to everyone, handicapped or otherwise, or economically disadvantaged who couldn't normally get in there. Those are the things we focus on. But the center point of that really is youth for us here in this market. And we're, as we all know, in the relationship business. Whatever part of the company we're in, that's what we do. And in our philanthropic endeavors, it's the same. So we look for partners and then develop as deep a relationship as we can with those partners. And I can't think of an organization in this city that better sort of represents that than Mass Mentoring, and David Shapiro and his team in particular, because they help us build bridges. One of the things that Alicia and Melissa and Kim and I and the rest of the team try to do is really foster synergies around the area. So not just support one not-for-profit, but find ways to get not-for-profits to work together. And once again, Mass Mentoring is a perfect example of how that works in Massachusetts. David is one of the most respected young leaders in the not-for-profit sector in the country, but certainly based here. And he knows all of the people in the different organizations that we support many of. So whether it's Big Brothers and Sisters, or you can go down the list and he'll talk a little bit more about that. But David's a great bridge and a great partner for us. Also helps us on Neighborhood Excellence. I don't know if this is reacting because of the other mic, but Neighborhood Excellence, he's on our committee to help choose leaders there. So we're always happy to have you in the building, and we want to thank you in advance for your work on this as well. I also want to thank Alicia and all the rest of the team for, thanks Melissa as always, and Kim, who's just back from maternity leave, and Linda and Felicia, really for pulling this together. So we're here today a little bit to spend a few minutes talking about Mass Mentoring, introduce you to Mass Mentoring and to David and his team, and explore what mentoring is and is not, and talk a little bit about the type of commitments that you can make, that all of us can make, to connect you directly with organizations and in turn kids. And that's really the call to action, or I'll come back on that later. Youth in our communities really do depend on us. There are nearly 3,000 youth in the area without mentors, and there's a huge personal fulfillment that each of us can get in working with those kids. So we thank you in advance for thinking about that and for taking the time to hear a little bit more about it. And I now want to turn it over to my partner and friend, Carrie Sullivan, who is responsible, as you know, for national philanthropy for Bank of America, who's going to talk a little bit more about Bank of America's commitment. Thanks again.